And you're actually grieving that relationship with yourself. What did she need, not get? And also, what magic did you lose along the way that she had? And it's always one person who wants it more than the other. And really, it's got to be aligned. It's getting back to your self-trust, your self-worth, your self-leadership, because all of a sudden it's like you don't have it.
Okay, we're here today with Lila,
also known as the split coach.
Yes, and she is a relationship coach, a divorce coach, and
life coach,
dating coach, everything coach. So we just thought it would be fun to have her on to talk to us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to have the conversation flow in the directions that it needs to, which is always exciting. So I actually wanted to circle back so people don't think that, okay, I'm just everything and anything, but I am really at the crux of it all is a relationship coach, but a relationship to self, community, exes, your life, right? I call myself the split coach.
Right.
I think I was telling you guys earlier is because basically, it identifies kind of the split that you have internally in every transition of your life, right? When you had one way of living and then all of a sudden that's taken from you or you decide to change it and you're in a different direction. So you kind of just jolted in a different direction. And there's a sense of loss of identity and direction and where you're going. And and with that, it's really hard to make decisions and move through certain things. So I really help and support people through all of that. So that's why the split coach. But I have been over a decade. I've been a mediator and a divorce coach.
So I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Was that the first thing that when you got into this, was that the first thing you started with?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What can I ask? What made you get into this line of work?
Right. So my own personal experience, which is often the case, you're kind of when you're doing something like this and working with people in this such a difficult moment of their lives, you really draw from experience. It's really important because that's the relatability, right? So I went through my own divorce. It was long. I was in and out of court for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I like to say I got my master's in divorce. And during the time when I was going through it, I really had this not just the loss of identity, loss of so much, loss of the world that I thought I was going to have, loss of the world that I did have, all of those things. But it was like I didn't have agency over any of the choices I was making. I was abdicating every single thing to the lawyer, my friends, my family. I mean, it was
I
right.
can so relate. I feel like, years ago though, when you got divorced, there probably wasn't a lot of coaches and less information out there, right?
Yeah, and you're kind of stuck depending on those people rather than
empowering yourself,
taking it on your own.
Right. I mean, I found the hardest because we all start out, we've got confidence, we've got our life together, we're married, we're like, okay, and we're going to build this kind of life. And then all of a sudden, divorce happens, and then you just don't even know who you are anymore. And from that space, it's very hard to trust yourself.
Yeah.
So that was what I found hard. And so trusting myself. So in the process of it, when I figured out that, oh, this might be a longer process than I wished, I signed myself up to the local college. I was living in London at the time, and I became a certified mediator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
so that's amazing that you've have that end of it also.
Yes.
To know the mediating. Yeah.
And that really helped with communication and negotiation. And I think it also brought out more confidence in myself in the sense that I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So let's take the emotion out of it, which is very hard to do. Compartmentalizing your emotion while making these life decisions are very hard.
Yes.
It's amazing that you could do that for other people. Help them take the emotion out of it and make logical choices without emotion.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's the crux of it, really. Right. I mean, you nailed it. You nailed the divorce coaching, right? And the difference between that in mediation or therapy or dealing with your lawyer only, like there are amazing professionals who can help support you through divorce and separation, your friends, your family as well, because they're your community. But it's getting back to your self-trust,
Yeah.
your self-worth, your self-leadership, because all of a sudden it's like you don't have it.
Like so many people, I think, coming out of a divorce, for me, myself too, it was like I was so used to somebody else making all the decisions for me.
Yeah, well, and I remember saying to my attorney all the time, like, well, what do you think I should do?
Right. Well, and
Well,
you all of a
tell me
sudden,
what to
right,
do.
you had to
Like,
step up and make
I
these
don't, yeah,
decisions that
I
were
don't know what to
huge.
do. So I guess it's nice to have
Yeah.
an extra person in the game
That you
giving
can
you
run everything off of
direction and yeah,
yeah,
guidance. And it's funny because I always say to people, don't use your attorney as your
as your
therapist. It'll cost you a fortune. And
which I did, like definitely made that
right.
mistake.
And
A lot of people.
And to
and
start,
again, like attorneys might give you their best advice, but it's not necessarily the right thing for you.
Oh, 100%. I mean, they know what your world, like I often tell people, take a piece of paper and I'm like, here's your world. This is your life. And then you go and tell your attorney certain things and then you fold that paper in half. And I'm like, that's what they understand, maybe, hopefully, right? They understand of your life. And then you fold it again in half and it's like, okay, that's what maybe the courts will understand. Then you fold it again and it's like this small if it gets in front of a judge. I mean, they'll know this part of your life. And so that myopic, like super small part of your life is what your people are going to help you from and that or decide for you from and that is not your story.
That's incredible. And that's where you come in and
Yeah.
you're like, okay, well, I just want to make that little tiny piece of paper
Right.
the most important
Yeah.
for the judge to
If it
help
goes that far.
to
Yeah.
help make that decision.
Exactly. And if
Yeah.
it goes that far, but the point of really, look, I can't promise anything in an outcome, but the idea is that when you start taking agency over your own decisions, you're making better decisions. And if you're making them not out of fear and you're making them out of a clear mind. So I'm helping people get clear. I'm helping people. I move them through that. I'm not the one telling them what to do. That's not my job, right? It's reminding them, it's like coaching them to build that muscle again of self-trust. It's like going to the gym. You could go to the gym, look at the gym and walk out and nothing's going to happen. And because you're not motivated and you're kind of stuck. But if you have a trainer even once a week, that's like pushing you, at least you have that once a week.
You walk in more empowered. You walk in like being able to advocate for yourself.
Exactly.
And
feel confident. Right. And so that's the idea, is to slowly gain back that confidence. And you've got someone who is invested, but not personally. So meaning you've got your family and friends. That's a community for sure. But they're hurting also.
Yeah,
They have their emotions.
They're
right.
having feelings and emotions over what you're going through as well.
And their own opinions in lots of opinions. What do you think about that? Like, what do you tell your clients? There's so many opinions that are coming in from everywhere, I find.
It's the worst advice. It's the worst advice. And I hate to say that because no disrespect for family and friends, because they need your love, they need everything. But they're coming from their fear base.
Right. And they're not equipped to give advice, not necessarily.
Right.
Unless they're a family lawyer, a bonus if you have one of those. I have yet to meet, I've helped like hundreds of people through the divorce process. I've yet to meet somebody who knows a family lawyer in their family or friendship group, which is hilarious.
I do remember my dad, though, being like very level-headed and very like helping me take the emotion out of it.
Amazing.
Like,
that's good that you had that.
These are the things you need to focus on. I remember that.
Yeah, which is great. And that is a gift that you had something like that. But again, let's go back to as a kid, because you're always going to be a kid in your parents' eyes, harder to listen to your parents. So in the sense that, yes, they're giving you advice, but they've been giving you advice all your life, right? Like my mom and dad didn't give me bad advice, but I was like, you don't know what I'm going through.
Oh, like and also sometimes for me, my parents are happily married. So I was like, well, what do you know? But I remember my dad just talking to me from more of like a business standpoint and saying like, okay, let's like stay focused here.
Right.
Like we need to focus on this, and that.
Perfect.
Yeah. And by the way, I remember also I had sometimes I had like a friend listen in with me on lawyer calls
Right.
because I just needed like, I was so emotional at the time and I needed somebody else to like be there to like take the notes and like explain it to me after. Cause like it was hard for my brain to even say.
I took my dad to all my meetings, everything. He was like my.
So,
But the
what do you
sound
think about
mind.
that?
Well, so a lot of it is because you're operating in your amygdala brain all the time. You're totally like, you're on fire. You're in fear mode. You don't understand anything that's coming at you. You hear one word. That's it, right? You shut down. You're triggered. All the things, right? And so you're not comprehending. And I think it is really important to, if you can, and you know that about yourself, to have someone as a witness there to like be like, well, this is what I heard and this is what I got down and I jotted down. And I do that often actually for people. I have sat through these meetings. And it helps, and it does help. And if you have somebody who can do that for you, 100%. Because again, until you get there, until you wrap your head around it, ask for all the help you can get.
Oh, I have a question for you. So back to like the mediating part of this. What is that like? Being like mediating, sitting down with a couple and mediating.
Oh, I think this is why I moved away from it. And not, I think it's the most beautiful thing if people can do it and they're amicable enough that they really want, and they're driven enough, by the way, to come to some agreement. And they realize this is going to be a less expensive route, more money for our children, more money, like all the things that you should be mediating for. We're two adults and we should make these decisions on our own, right? Bonus. But unfortunately, a lot of people are so charged when they're going through a divorce and they're in their story of,
he did this, he did that. Yeah.
Like, and distrust and anger, frustration. And they're so driven in that, and righteousness. And I want to be right. And I want to be, and they use the mediation as a therapy session.
Right.
And so it goes really out the door, and like to stay focused, get them in sync. And it's always one person who wants it more than the other. And really, it's got to be aligned. You have to be aligned and make a conscious decision and say, right, we're going to do our best to do mediation because it's the better route for X, Y, and Z. Why? Even to save money. If that's the reason, let that be the reason. Do it.
Yeah.
My current husband, he mediated with his ex-wife, and it was an amazing experience. I mean,
we ended up mediating in the end, tried it a few times before, mediation court, and then ended up with a mediator who's also a therapist, which really ended up helping us in the end. Because I think it helped calm down the emotions and helped us get to like a final settlement,
Yeah, because there's nuances, and that's what I say. It's like being a mediator, you're really told you can't really interject. And so you're not there to like tell them what to do, but they want you to tell them.
Right.
And there's not one person that I have worked with who's mediated who said the mediator likes the other person more.
Yeah.
When they feel that the mediator is on the side of the other person out of nowhere, but that's the insecurity bit. That's the bit
that's also like when you go to couples therapy.
Yeah.
And you always think,
likes him more.
Right.
Do you do couples ever?
Well, I have, and they're in a very amicable, like they've made a choice. They're like, nope, we don't want to fight. We're good. We're like, we know what we want and everything. It's just more for the co-parenting stuff of like giving me an outline, draw me up some, some ideas of how that looks like, how we can communicate to the children, help us like, just formulate the right things if and when, right? But that's it. I mean, they're really aligned. They're like.
So is that where the co-parenting coaching came from?
Yeah.
Like that was the next step after like divorce coaching, then came in co-parenting coaching and.
Yeah. I mean, co-parenting went in tandem with divorce coaching. I think where I realized I was doing a lot of work in was the co-parenting aspect of it, because it's everybody
needs
what are the biggest fears is financing kids, right? Like that's it. When you're going through it, that's really what you're thinking about. You're not really thinking about all the other things yet, so you're just thinking kids finance, right? And so I ended up really heavily supporting people through the co-parenting aspect, and then I got an extra accreditation, and I now teach actually at the CDC accreditation for divorce coaching. I teach the co-parenting
Maybe I'll come
aspect.
take your course.
Yeah, exactly. And you should. And a lot of it is about communication. I mean, let's just break it down. This is
you teach
up and coming divorce coaches.
That's amazing.
I know. We should go. Will you take it with me?
Yeah, you should. Yeah. You definitely should.
Why not? What
does that look like?
So it's really like these are coaches that are getting their, people who are getting their accreditation for divorce coaching, which is a very intense program, by the way.
How long is it?
It's like 4 months, and but like every day. Like this is a proper school.
In person, you do it?
On Zoom.
Okay.
And then they have these extra like additive, specialties. So the co-parenting, the this, and then you get, honed in. And so I do like the co-parenting. I'm part of the co-parenting one.
Got it. Interesting. Well, we'll talk about it. What about, now you're doing dating coaching.
Oh yeah. So, so to preface this, like the dating coaching is kind of part of the evolution of a divorce and separation anyway, right? Like you have a life after this.
Right.
You have a life after divorce. There's always a life, and it's always a really great life. Like I haven't seen anybody.
It becomes, it's something a lot of people want to talk about and hear about, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great life.
Because everybody wants to find love again post-divorce, or a lot of people do.
Well, I have to interject one thing. Okay. A friend of mine DM'd me about our posts, some of our reels, and she reminded me, but you're not divorced anymore. You're married. And I said, yes, but I want to help people, and I want to show people that like there is love again. There is life after divorce.
There is.
Whatever it may be, whatever it might look like.
This is like the example of you went through it, found love again, and living up happily on the other side.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I'm the single version of that for now.
Exactly.
So,
no. And that's where, so with or without another person at the end of this, the cycle, you are in love with yourself again. Like that's
been
me,
the biggest
that
lesson for me 100%. Is like, because I think so many of us grew up thinking like you're not okay unless you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
And it really is like, I think that it is where it comes down to is getting back to you, loving you, being okay no matter who is in your life. Absolutely. And then finding the connection, right?
Right. You want to find, because at the end of the day, you ideally you want to find that next person from that place of self-worth, self-trust, all the good things, because that's what you're bringing your best self into that relationship.
Absolutely. I always say you have to love yourself first before somebody else can come in and love you. Because if they fall in love with a person that's not really loving themselves, that's not what you want.
Right.
You want them to love
and
you
for
you loving you.
And also you attract kind of like where you are at with yourself too, don't you think? Or no? Like for me, it's been like the more I love myself, the more healed version of myself I am, the more I'm attracting the kind of people that I want are better for me. Yeah,
absolutely. Oh, that's 100% true. Yeah. You're also not desperate, and you're not trying to fill a void. And you're also, in acceptance of like, hey, I like being with me. And if I get an added value in my life, great. Right. And at that point you get to choose. And this isn't, really, again, it really depends on where you are in your life cycle, what your motives are. But I would say have a vision. And it's like the vision should not just be about another relationship, right? Like what's all around that. And then how does that relationship fit into the vision? And so then you create, the scenario.
I always tell John, you're my icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Like you're like the extra.
Yeah, exactly.
Like life is good, but it's so much.
You make it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make it better.
Right. And that's the key, right? So going back to the dating coaching. And so I essentially, it kind of just is part of the process because, you go through the cycle of divorce. And then they're sitting there and they're like, okay, I'm done. Now what? Do you know how many times people are like, now what? Because it's been like so part of their lives that they're like, oh my God. And then, they still have the co-parenting. They still have certain things. Some people don't because not everybody has kids. And then they're like, oh my God. And now the identity crisis kind of sinks in, and then they're working on themselves, and they're like, but I want to be ready to date. It's either I want to be ready to date, or I feel like I'm ready to date. What does this look like? What is, how do I get my confidence? Can I do this? And so I walk them through all of that. So dating coaching is very much really about that piece. Like I said, relationship with self first. And so it is centered around that. And of course, like, it's not like I'm a dating expert. It's not like I've done thousands of dates that I can tell you how to date. And everybody has to be themselves.
You get better at it.
Right. You get better at it for sure. I figured that. I was like, you definitely get better at it the more you do it.
I find myself now, like you coached me a little. Now I find myself coaching others. Like as you go through it, you learn more. And it sounds like you're evolving with your clients. Like,
totally. I mean, I definitely will say that, and I see a theme, and it's a common thread, and I recognize it. And, everybody, even though they're all different from different walks of life and all these things, there is this common thread, right? The fear. And the fear of, am I going to pick the same type of person? Am I going to do this? It's that, like,
that's a
shitty committee
question.
in your brain.
That's a common question you get.
Yeah, all the time. Oh my God. And especially after divorce.
So what's your advice on that?
Well, that's where if you get clear on who you are and what you want and that vision, then nothing will, so you get to create from that vision. Remember that. It's like, okay, here's my vision, and does this person, or does this move that I'm making, or does this action or this thought, any of it, help me to my vision? Right. And that's, you can ask yourself that. And that's like anything, even in business. You're like, well, I want to make X, Y, and Z, close by the end of the year. Right. And then you don't even design anything. Well, is that way can you get you to the decision?
The action.
You got to take the action. And so when somebody tells me, I really want to find my next husband, and I'm really ready for it, and I want to settle down, and then they don't do anything about it because they hope that they're going to meet the person at the grocery store, you're not taking action. Like, is that, if your vision is there that you want to start a family, you want to have, but then you just go, I hate the abs, I don't want to do that.
So what do you tell them? What's your advice?
Well,
how's it go?
So the way that I, like, this is, I think I heard a combination of this stuff, but where dating goes and how to approach dating, if you're looking for somebody out there, is it's a holistic approach, right? You can't just say, okay, I'm going to go out on the apps and just leave it a chance that will happen. And then you get really frustrated when it doesn't, right? So your onus is on that.
Right.
There's like a pie, and you've got matchmaking on one piece of it, because there's a lot of matchmaking companies out there. You've got online dating in one piece of it. You've got your friends and family, okay, in another piece. And then you have your social life. So you've got like this 4-section pie, right? If you think about it. And a lot of people don't tap into, so matchmaking and online dating. But a lot of people misuse or underuse their friends and family, and their social circles, right? Their social life.
So, yeah.
And I'll explain it.
Okay.
So the friends and family, for example, and when I say friends, it could just be maybe even colleagues or people that that you trust, all those things. Like, when you're clear on what you want, and how you want to feel in a relationship, the type of person you want to attract in your life, you can vocalize that, and then you can start asking people, I'm ready to date. So if you guys ever come across or know of anybody that is in your circle that you could potentially introduce me to, I'm here. Just think about me. That's it.
There's no, and then you like
putting it out there.
Seed a little bit.
You plant the seed, and I'll tell you a really great story.
Okay.
Around that in a second. So the other section about social life, it's like, again, don't underuse, the fact that maybe you go do yoga and there's meetup groups, or you do hiking and you do all these things. And a lot of people I work with are like, yeah, I love going hiking on my own. I'm like, great. But yeah, you told me that you really want to get remarried or have a family and all those things. And maybe you could consider
find a group.
Finding a hiking group is all over LA, right? I'm like, you can do this. So, it's just thinking outside of the lines, that I'm glad that you can love doing it on your own, and you're proud of yourself that you can do those things, but it's not getting you to the vision.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
And so the story I'm going to share, because it's a really beautiful one, is the story of my brother and my sister-in-law.
Okay.
So my sister-in-law, I met my sister-in-law. I was living in London at the time. I met my sister-in-law a couple of years before she met my brother, and through friends. So she was a really acquaintance, but I loved her. She was great, and she is great. And Anyway, she decided to send out an email to everybody a year in after I met her. And that email to her people that she trusted. And she's like, I'm really ready to settle down. This is the type of guy I really want to find. This is the feelings that I really want to have. I want to build a family. I want to do all the things. And when I read that email, I was like, that's my brother. I literally said that. I was like, that's my brother.
That's
She is
amazing.
describing
So cool.
my brother to a T.
So cool.
Meanwhile, my brother lives in Dubai at the time. I'm living in London. She's living in London. I was like, well, they're never going to meet, right? Whatever, and they kind of like threw it out the door. I think my brother was actually he had a fiance that time, that moment. He broke up with the fiance. A year later, he came to visit me in London, staying with me over Christmas. I had a party. She was there. He was there. Said, you two need to meet. And then I didn't see my brother for the whole week. And then they're married and have 2 kids, happily married,
that's amazing.
and 2 boys.
That's a good story.
Okay, and I tell you that because it is the reason why I say it's so underused. Like, had I not read that email, never in a million years would.
Yeah.
Right.
No way. Because my brother lived in another country. So for me to even think about that, right? And I was like, oh my God, they need to meet. So that's why I say, like, the power of your community is so important. But if you're clear on what you want to attract in,
right,
and that clarity has to come from you and clear about yourself.
Solid. You have to be like solid.
Exactly.
Wow, that's a good story.
Yeah, it is a great story. And it's an inspiration too. So, I say that, and again, the social life too. Like I said before, it's like you can do things solo, but why not do it in company?
Exactly. I've heard so many people be so negative on the apps, and I've never been an app person, but just even having that negative attitude, it's like, okay, well then go do something that, like you said, like join a group that you can find the things that you love to do and do them, and you never know who you'll meet.
Exactly.
And even
and
also
you're doing something that you love, that's bringing out the best of you.
Yeah.
And that's opportunity to meet somebody doing it.
Well, right. And the app experience is really, it's a very negative charge if you think that's the way you're going to find it. And then you're discouraged because maybe you're not finding the people that you want. And then you're like, oh, this sucks.
Right.
But meanwhile, it's there for a playground. It's a playground. I look at it as a playground,
It's good for practice.
100%.
Definitely. And some, I could see it like shifting the energy if you just want to go on a couple of dates from the app or something. And then, just to put yourself out there again.
It's a good way to get your feet wet.
Yeah. Absolutely. And again, build the confidence, right? Because even if you're a confident person, dating is a whole nother aspect.
Right. Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's, I think the whole gamut of relationship, the common denominator in all these things and aspects of your life is that relationship you have with yourself. And I don't hate to sound like Instagram-y, like this whole like your relationships, self-love, but it's truth to that.
But you are a life coach.
Yeah, but it's truth to that. Like, it's so important.
What's the longest client you've had? I'm just curious, like if you've taken anyone like from like through divorce onto their next marriage or something like that, where like or
4 years.
Okay, that's
4
a long
years.
time.
Yeah, that's a long time.
And so
but again, it's not like therapy. So I am not there consistently every week, checking in. There's like
somebody that reaches out to you
well, I'll tap in when it's really needed. And then, there's a lot of work they can do on themselves. I give them the tools. I do this. I check in. I'm their accountability partner in a lot of these things. It's really thick and heavy when they're in the middle of it, obviously, or prepping for things. And then that's the heavy lifting stuff. But when it's more of that life coaching and moving on piece, it's not you're not in it, but I'm the accountability. So it's like, oh, wait a minute, I have to remind myself, and I need that coach to remind me sometimes, right? So that's.
I want to talk about the circle. I went to this women's circle that you hosted.
Is that how you guys originally met?
Or we met
at. That was recently, the circle.
Yeah, okay. Lila. We met at a networking event, and then she hosted a women's circle. What is it called again?
It was an alchemy circle, and it was definitely around, again, relationship to self, especially for people who have come out of transition, right? Like, and it could be anything. I mean, there's a lot of, as you heard, like a lot of moms facing this kind of identity shift as their kids are going away, moving away, have their own autonomy and their own lives. And you're like, whoa, they are not needed anymore. So there's a piece of that.
It was just such a beautiful evening of like connection amongst women of different ages, going through stages, ages, doing different, like just going through different things in their life, whether it was with their kids or with their partners, or just with themselves. And like, I don't know, it's just like holding space for each other and empowering each other. And amazing how like people's stories, like everybody could kind of connect to each other's story in some way.
Right.
You know,
we all connect.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting part about it. I think we're going like back to the divorce coaching aspect of it. When you're going through something like that, you think you're the only one because it's all consuming, but you realize that, oh my God, so many people have faced this in one way or the other, even if it's a breakup. You don't have to be married, but
we've talked about that on you know, on our platform about just, it doesn't have to be about divorce.
No.
It can be about any kind of relationship. You know, you're grieving a relationship.
Yeah. And you're actually grieving that relationship with yourself.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Like I've done so much work recently on like the inner child stuff, which it really comes back to like, oh, you know, like what did she need and not get, and how can I give that to her today?
What did she need, not get? And also, what magic did you lose along the way that she had? Like, we all are born magical. I mean, literally. I mean, there's no other word for it, but we're like
such a beautiful thing to say,
right? And everything's possible. Do you remember like your, invisible friend, the unicorns? We can fly. I mean, the world had all the possibilities, and it's somebody says no, you can't. Somebody says be careful. Somebody says you shouldn't do that, and you're like
that wrong.
Yeah. And you keep losing it.
You're like boom, 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 boom,
and then you think less of yourself and end up in these situations, and then it's like, how do I get back to
self?
Yeah,
to that magical place.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And aside from the circle that you just did, but you also have a workshop.
Yeah, I have. So God, I have, yeah. I mean, I try to give a lot more opportunity. Not everybody can do one-on-one, and I totally understand that. So I really want to be able to serve as many people as possible in whatever stage they're going through. So I definitely hone in with the co-parenting. Right. And I have a co-parenting group that lasts 6 weeks. It's once a week, but where you can really work on like the aspects of, oh my God, I'm, dealing with this. How do I do this? So it's a lot of coaching, a lot of tool giving, like I'm giving advice, I'm doing all the things that I would do on a one-on-one, but you're in a group, and it's a really nice container, a safe container as well.
It's probably nice for these people to be in a group where they feel like, oh,
they learn from each other.
They learn from each other, and they don't feel so alone.
Right. Exactly. What's actually really important, because you do actually learn from other people's experiences.
Yeah.
And not in a bad way, but you're like, oh, yeah, I do that too. Oh, yeah, maybe
I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
That's such a good idea.
Exactly. I mean, I see so many people like shine from that, and it's like, oh my God, they get their confidence back more too. It's like, oh yeah, and I'm not in this alone. Right. So I do offer that. I
think sometimes so many of us think like our story is so crazy or different than everybody else's, and like so many of them are similar, like
very
just similar feelings through it all.
Well, I'll tell you what I think a lot of it is shame. So you have the sense of guilt. A lot of people have guilt and failure. So that is wrapped in like shame.
Right.
And so you're in such shame mode that they're just like, there was no way anybody else is dealing with any of this, and they have their shit together. They have their shit together. They have their no, they don't
always believe what you see.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And so you're hesitant to connect.
And then once you open up, it's like, oh, like then it's sort of like when you're with a friend and like you share something, and then all of a sudden they share back because and it's like, oh, we really
we're not alone.
Yeah.
I always thought you had your shit together.
Right. No one has all their shit together. I'm sorry. Like, it's impossible,
Of course not.
And life is always going to remind us of that.
Right.
And we're not in control of anything except ourselves. So again, with that, it's like anything can happen. Right. And so getting like what most of my work is really going back to helping people get to that magical self, but also like a state in which they want to operate. And what I mean by that is like, is it confidence? Is it love? Is it whatever it is that you want to lead with in your life? And that's where you're going to create everything, right? So if you're telling me I want a family, I want a better community or a bigger community, and I want to connect, well, then you're going to have a state of love all the time, right? You got to be open. You've got to operate from that state, not fear, self-doubt, anger, frustration, because you're not going to attract that, right? So it's really important to really be, and by the way, your states can also change if and when. So if it's like, I want to really be a successful business person. Okay, well, what kind of state that you have to be in authority and confidence and all of that. So lead by that. So it's really just leading by this like love-based state all the time,
Wow. That's really good advice.
Lots of life lessons.
Yes.
Lots of lessons.
I hope so. I hope that helped.
I think well, that's like a great note to end on.
I'm glad.
And we're all gonna like get our magical
magic back.
Magical selves
yes.
back.
And everybody follow
the Split Coach. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This has been great. I always love talking to you girls. So this is great.
This was great.
All right. Great.